The Harrigans say hello.
The season finale of Ronan Bennett's MobLand saw the conflict between the Harrigans and the Stevensons end abruptly and violently, thrusting key members of the Harrigan crime organization into a larger, more hazardous world. Harry D'Souza successfully ended the conflict with the Stevensons by putting Conrad and Maeve behind bars. On the way to the explosive denouement, several crucial secrets about the Harrigans' inner circle were solved, most notably the identity of the rat who had been feeding Richie information for months. Harry took advantage of Richie's confidence in the Harrigans' own lawyer, O'Hara Delaney, to set up the South London criminal lord and all of his soldiers, allowing Harry, Kevin, Paul, Zosia, and Kiko to ambush them all at once. Elsewhere, Kevin asserts his claim to the throne of the Harrigan criminal empire, refocused by the exorcism of his longtime tormentor, prison guard Alan Rusby. After confirming that Eddie was Conrad's son with his wife Bella, Kevin entirely disowned Eddie, referring to him as Conrad's problem rather than his own. While many of the mysteries of MobLand's first season were addressed, and the conflict with the Stevensons was resolved, the conclusion did a lot to set up an unconfirmed second season. The events of Season 1 unintentionally drew the Harrigans into a much bigger criminal underworld than the London-based domains they shared with the Stevensons. There will be plenty of stories to tell in the next phase of development for the members of the Harrigan crime organization, as well as the next set of opponents whose ire has been aroused. Is Tom Hardy's Harry going to survive after being stabbed by John? The ending sequence of MobLand Season 1 was considerably more intimate than the enormous action set pieces that took up most of the final episode. It involves Harry returning to Jan in the safe home, where she finally vented her hatred, fear, and disgust with her and Gina's situation of being imprisoned in their perilous lifestyle. In her rage, Jan made a Freudian slip and accidentally stabbed Harry in the chest with a kitchen knife. Given Tom Hardy's prominent role in the program, as well as his calm and calculated reaction to the stabbing, he is unlikely to die from his wound. Frankly, the cliffhanger is most likely a preventive measure in case Tom Hardy does not or cannot return for another season of MobLand. They now have an easy way to remove him from the program and give Joanne Froggett's Jan an issue to deal with. Why the prisoners cheer Conrad? At the end of the episode, Conrad departs his prison cell, flanked by the other inmates. They greet him with cheers and praise, which Conrad thoroughly enjoys because, as previously stated, he prioritizes his personal reputation above everything else. Conrad, 100 guns. Harrigan used to be London's most feared crime boss, earning the respect and admiration of criminals all throughout the city. Conrad, who is now in prison like the rest of them, is remembered for his decades of heinous crimes. Maeve's series-long motivation explained. Admittedly, the explanation for Maeve's constant scheming is thin, and it almost sounds like she made it up on the spot. However, when she and Conrad discuss the burners they smuggled into their prison cells, Maeve realizes that everything she did, including sicking Eddie on Tommy Stevenson and igniting a war, anonymously calling the police to put them on Harry's trail, and providing Serafina's location to Richie Stevenson himself was all part of her personal test. Simply, Maeve wanted to determine which family members were worth creating a future around. The ending also provides much-needed explanation for why Maeve was so bonded to Eddie and despised Serafina. Maeve was always aware that Eddie was not her grandchild, and she developed feelings for him before he was a teenager. She has practically groomed him as the heir to the Harrigan Empire, which she values above everything else. With Eddie in place, Maeve intends to appoint herself queen of his country, allowing her to reign vicariously. This would not have been possible with an adult Serafina at the head of the table. Is Kevin in charge of the Harrigan Empire now? Kevin Harrigan's childhood has surely been terrible as he was raised in a criminal organization by his parents, Conrad and Maeve. He had been raped numerous times in prison since a young age, making him even more vulnerable to his cruel father's will. Kevin was misled for years about his presumed son's true identity, and he lived with a woman who chased his closest buddy behind his back. In the climax of MobLand, Kevin began to reclaim what was properly his, not only in terms of the Harrigan crime organization, but also in terms of control over his life. With Conrad and Maeve still alive, Kevin's journey to the throne will not be easy. He has Harry's affection and respect, but he must gain it from all members of the Harrigan crime organization if he is to actually govern the empire. Furthermore, Kevin will be responsible for making his opponents and rivals respect and fear him. Richie may be gone, but Kevin now faces more formidable opponents in Jaime Lopez and Kat McAllister. Kevin's last name will only get him so far. He must get control of the Harrigan crime syndicate. MobLand's finale reveals what Bella's story was really about. The maddening lack of detail in Bella's strategy involving her father, the Home Secretary, the Frenchman Antoine, and his customer, a sanctioned Syrian arms dealer, was finally resolved in the season finale. A series of background news broadcasts played on Bella's phone and computer revealed that her father had been detained on charges of extortion or illicit lobbying. Bella set up the meeting with the gun dealer in order to trap her father, with video evidence of his backdoor dealings, all in retaliation for his childhood rape and torture of her. Why Harry rejects Kat, and how will she take her revenge? In the season finale of MobLand, Harry sat down with Kat one-on-one, and she promptly called in one of the favors Harry owed her for saving Serafina's life in Antwerp and arranging the meeting between Conrad and Jaime. Unfortunately, that favor was having Harry assist her in eliminating the surviving Harrigans, so that Kat could control the drug and gun trade in London. Harry firmly refuses out of pure devotion to the Harrigans in general, but especially to his best buddy Kevin, who was on Kat's list of to assassinate. As previously stated, Kat McAllister is one of the most influential people in the criminal underground, yet the nature of her function or connections is bafflingly unclear. It was widely assumed that she was an intelligence officer for the CIA, MI6, and so on, but the fact that she wanted to get in on the London drug and gun trade suggests that she was a major crime lord herself. It's been established that owing her anything is a huge mistake, but Harry has also set a bullseye on his back. Interestingly, Kat contacted Serafina Harrigan during the season finale, which could be her move now that Harry has turned his back on her. Instead of wiping off the Harrigans in bulk, Kat could consider putting Serafina at the helm of the family as her puppet. Serafina is a bright, unyielding entrepreneur with the correct last name and reputation in London, so she makes an excellent ally for Kat. She may be Kat's ultimate tool for vengeance against Harry, threatening the Harrigan Empire from within.